Alright guys, welcome to my Madden running back tutorial. Just a little video to give you guys a little bit more direction if you don't really understand, or if you're not really that good at I guess running the football in Madden. So this is a franchise mode, and I chose to do only the role of the running back. I feel like usually the franchise mode is a lot of fun no matter how you play it, but the full owner mode is a little bit time consuming because you're gonna have to do recruiting, you're gonna have to do contracts, trades, stuff like that. So I usually just do a particular role, whether it be running back, quarterback, wide receiver, just because the games are pretty short, and so you get through a lot more of them, and then you don't have to worry about all the admin stuff. So this is a Green Bay Packers running back. This is year 2, first game of the season. Last year I had 2,400 yards rushing, 1,000 yards, or not 1,000, maybe 2,000 yards receiving or so, and 2 punt return touchdowns and 2 kick return touchdowns. So generally with kick returns, I like to do return middle, because if you choose either left or right, you can choose wrong and they'll kick it to the opposite side, and if they do that, then you're pretty much out of luck. It's pretty much a dud play at that point. You won't really get past the 25 usually, unless you get lucky. So I usually choose middle because it keeps all your options open when you do the return, because your guys are just kind of creating a wedge up the middle, and you can kind of see where your blocking's going. First play of the game, I usually do a run up the middle. It's usually the easiest thing. When you're trying to do runs up the middle, all you really want is to do a gash. So you just want to get what you can. So as soon as you hike it, you kind of see where the blocks are developing. You'll get used to your team, and maybe your left guard's not as good as your right, so you'll have an idea of how the blocks are going to turn out most of the time. When you first hike the ball, you don't really want to be watching the running back. You want to have your eyes on the lineman and keep working your way back. So in this case, there's a huge hole,
but also solid job by the running back picking up some good yards.
The Packers will take the snap from the 35.
and so we hit it pretty good. There's a holding penalty on the play, so I end up having to go back, and so this is my favorite passing play. You have to be careful when you're picking passing plays, because if you pick one that doesn't have a running back in, then you pretty much just don't get to participate in that play. But this one's pretty good because, 1, there's usually a wide receiver downfield open, and 2, you have a pretty good underneath route that can turn into some big plays. What happened there is I called for the ball, wasn't getting it, so I went to turn upfield to get a deeper pass or see if I get more out of the route, and he had thrown it right when I did that, so it was too late for me to recover. So the
Following that incompletion, it sets up 3rd and 10.
another thing that can be successful is putting your guy. You can do a hot route, so you can run some pretty good plays where maybe you stand and block. All you have to do is press Y to start the hot route, select the receiver, whichever receiver you want, and then it'll tell you what routes you can pick to kind of change your guy around. And you just select whatever route, and then the thing is about this is you don't really have to run whatever route you choose. So no matter what, I usually choose a go, because I can just make a cut wherever I want, and the computer is going to throw it after my cut, so it just throws it perfectly after the cut. So it's not like a real person thinking you're running a go and throwing a go, and you run inside, and the play doesn't work. It doesn't. So you can kind of cheat Madden in that sense. Looks like we got a turnover, so I'm doing a toss to the outside. So one of the things that if you haven't played Madden in a while, or if you're used to playing Madden from some of the older Maddens, is the right trigger for speed boost. Before, you used to hold this a lot. Now it's not really there for you to hold. You want to use it when you need it. So when you get to do like a toss play or a screen play, you don't want to just hold that right trigger right out as soon as you get the ball, because what happens is you will outrun your blockers, which you don't want to do. You want to make sure you're slow enough for them to connect, and then you power through, whatever gap they gave you. So The next thing we're going to do here looks like it's going to be just a run up the middle again. These are pretty solid if they're giving it to you, especially if they try to run like a 2-tackle formation like this with nothing up the middle. You can connect pretty good on these plays, and good for keeping the drive going. You want to keep the drive going because it just gives better stats overall. Because obviously, if you have a 3 and out, then that's time that comes off the clock where you're not actually the one getting any of the stats. This is another play I like because you can go outside, kind of find the hole like I did there. You can see I was calling for the ball, and so I was going to do a possession catch, and then I was able to switch it to a catch and run, which is the X button. And you want to do that. Make sure that you do the right catch, because if not, if it's a really crucial down, then and you try to do a catch and run, you drop it, then that's it. So on the crucial downs, you want to probably just tap A so that you make sure that you catch it. And if you're trying to squeeze it in the end zone on a catch, you want to tap Y. Or sorry, not Y, tap A so that you get your feet down. Like there, I was calling for the ball, and so I locked in a possession catch, which means the play is pretty much over as soon as you catch it. And then if it's top of the jump, like if a DB is probably going to pick it or something like that, you can use the Y button to do those catches and kind of take it away from those guys and do bigger plays. The biggest thing on this is that you also choose a lot of plays that give your guy an opportunity. Even if there's certain situations where you wouldn't, you want to just give your guy the opportunity, because you're better than your computer players anyways. Even if they have a higher rating, you're going to be better at getting it. So here's a screen. This will be a good example. I usually do not touch the controller at all when the screen first starts, because it lets him go through that motion properly, whereas I think it's a little bit harder for her person to do the whole turn around, catch it, and run thing. So I usually don't touch anything until I catch it, and then I do not use the right trigger until I can kind of see where the blocks are going. And if you get lucky like I did there, you'll catch a block on the outside, and that's pretty much the end of it. Or if you're unlucky, you will have to come back inside and kind of just see where you can gash them from there.
Puts it through the uprights. Needed plenty of leg on that one. We see it more and more. Long field goals by these kickers.
I know I return a kick on this one. Guess not this kick, but a little bit later in this game, you'll get to see a kick return. You'll also get to see a really good touchdown where it's off of a cut, which is good because it kind of lets you see a little bit of what I'm looking at. This might actually even be the play, but essentially, the lineman will come through. Don't get frustrated if you get stopped, because it will happen. Not every play is going to be the 80-yard run, and sometimes there's just not much you can do if the blocking's not there. With my play calling, I usually just go through the options that they do with the coach selection. It's a little bit easier. There's usually some decent options in there, and the only time I don't is when maybe it's at the end of the game and I want a little bit more stats, and they're trying to do a certain direction, whether it be only pass or only run. Then I'll just do my own thing.
First half or not, here's a running back who has been the playmaker.
Yeah, he's been a playmaker, and it kind of reminds me back in 1985, running back for the San Francisco 49ers, Roger Craig.
Yeah, that one I probably should have audibled the run to the right. You do that just by pushing the left thumbstick. It will change which direction the run's going on most plays, and then you can run to a little bit more open space.
From the gun, Rodgers. Had for just a second, but then it came out on contact.
That was a big hit by the defender that time. The receiver drops the football. I'll tell you what, I guarantee the next time he goes over the middle.
This play, which is like the halfback circle, I'm hit or miss. I'm probably 50-50 success on this play. Sometimes you just don't get the cut as fast as you'd like, and the quarterback moves on to the next target, which kind of stinks because then you don't get the stats.
He put the football right on the money, on a line, right into the receiver's hands.
Okay, this is the long run. So when I was running, I saw that there were, there's a huge hole in the middle, and when I looked up and to the right, as my, I checked the line, I checked the linebackers, and I saw that the wide receiver was connecting with that safety. I just immediately pulled towards him. It's not going to work 100% of the time, but I knew that if there's any way that was going to go long, that was it, that I would catch that block, and it worked. I cut it just in time to be able to outrun all those guys and get the touchdown. And then towards the end of it, I wasn't using the speed boost because I was saving it for in case I needed it to kind of gun it at the end and make a good cut on that guy. And I don't think I did, but like I said, you always want to, unless you need it, you don't really want to be using it. And here, yep, cut right. So you can find a little bit of a hole there. You'll have a lot of close calls like that'll probably frustrate you, but it's just a matter of going. You start off pretty quick with the boost, kind of let off of it, see where the blocks are developing, and then try to boost in that direction and see if that breaks you. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Sometimes you'll be just one block away from a touchdown. On this play here, I usually run this play because if they run the wrong coverage, the safety will follow that guy on his motion in and then follow him to the inside, which leaves that entire side open, which could turn into a nice 15, 20-yard catch.
The Lions defense now is going to go nickel. Rodgers going to take it from
when your guys catch the ball, even if you can't see them, because sometimes it gives you a really bad camera angle, try to do as much blocking as you can, because you don't know what tackles they're going to break or cuts they're going to make that will then make the guy that's close to you the guy that's going to end up making the play. So, try to do as much blocking as you can to see if you can break them, especially with a running back, because if you're up by a couple touchdowns in the fourth quarter, you can pretty much just run the entire time after that, which then really boosts your end game stats. You can get a lot of your, especially on games where maybe you only have 60, 70 yards rushing, you can get 50, 60 at the end, and then it's a really good game for you.
Here's the first snap after the big play.
And this is just me doing a bad job of cutting. I used too much speed boost there, so I kind of outran my blocker. I wasn't able to slow down and let him get in front, so they got outside of it and stopped the play. I thought I was going to get better cuts on this, and I just made a bad cut. So it was fourth down. I did the hurry up and a run to the right. Now on this run, because there's a guy going to be in motion, you can't change the direction. So if you don't like it, your only option is really run it or call timeout. So in this one, I got lucky that it seemed okay as a formation. It seemed like we were going to get decent blocks as long as they didn't leave somebody unblocked. I should be able to get that first down, which we did. And again, up the middle because none of them are there. When I make contact downfield, there's not much I can do to break that run at that point. So I'll hold RB and push up on the right thumbstick, which is kind of like a hit stick. It makes him cover the ball and try to push forward. And so that usually works out, so you don't do a lot of fumbles, because if you're just dancing around and you're not trying to cover the ball, you'll definitely fumble at least a little bit, depending on your guy's stats.
So far, wonderful execution of this drive. When you get a chance to get out of bounds, here the offensive player got the yardage, had a chance, gets out of the bounds, stops the clock. Good job by the offense.
The Lions defense brings in an extra member of the secondary. They'll go nickel.
See, something as small as that little block there slowed that guy down so that he didn't maybe, knock him out at the one. Maybe in this case it would have been better for me, because I probably could have ran it in on the one, but either way, time's running down in the second quarter, so it's probably just better to get the score anyways. And just like in real life, the Detroit Lions are really, really bad. Madden gets a lot of that right. Apparently they thought the Seahawks were going to be a little bit better than they were. But usually the bad teams do bad and the good teams do good.
As we've seen today, this is a team that's dedicated to the run, and it's paid off with some very good stats on the ground.
Well, it shows you what the coach thinks. He believes in running the football, and when you believe in it, what happens to your football team? They become tough, and they have shown that toughness here today. That's why they have such a good ground game going.
Another touchdown to increase the lead.
I think this is the punt return that I got a touchdown on. And you'll see, as soon as I catch it, it's just a matter of cutting towards an opening. And if you don't see an opening, the hard part is when you have to cut to the right side, kind of like here. When you do that, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, because sometimes there's a guy that's unblocked. And that's the end of the play. Right there you'll see is another instance in which I let off of the speed, and then as that guy got closer, I boosted the speed, so he jumped and missed me completely just based off of the speed difference when I started accelerating towards the end. Let off a little bit and accelerate, and then he missed it. And so that's what actually got the touchdown. Now, I think for the rest of the game, they're not going to punt to me, which is semi-realistic, actually.
And he punts it, and it's going to sail out of bounds, trying to play kick away from that dangerous returner.
A lot of things have to go wrong in any game for it to be this one-sided, but you look at the matchup at running back, and it's certainly just one more thing that stands out.
Yeah, when you run the football well, we all know you control the tempo of the game, and also you
And this one looks like I'm running a pass play, but a run to the left would probably do pretty good based on the blocking that I could get. But, like on this play, it's tough because if you don't get open right away, if Aaron Rodgers doesn't want to throw it to you, then you're probably not going to get the ball at all in that play.
Mixing things up today on first down. The pass catches the defense off guard. They pick up solid yards. Now it's second and short.
Rodgers, completion percentage 70% on the day.
And sometimes you have plays like that where your wide receivers just decide that they don't need to block anymore. So that pretty much ends the play because you're trying to make cuts off of them, keeping their block. And always make your cuts based on them keeping the block, because if you try to make cuts based on them you think that they won't, then that's not really going to work ever. So here's a good one. Again, you always want to cover the ball when you're going to make contact in plays like that, because you're not really going to break much there. I mean, you could, and even the act of covering the ball will sometimes break that tackle, but you don't want to just take those hits because you may fumble. I haven't really gotten injured in this Madden at all. It seems like a pretty easy. I apparently got sniped there. Jordan Nelson apparently
coming back from his injury is worthless. So
for some reason the game last season when he was injured just gave us like Hakeem Nicks and Luke Wilson and someone else. I don't remember someone else. Did a pretty decently big name. And I'm not really sure how that happened.
Because they're just trying to find a way to get out of this game.
Running the football is a mindset, and it's one this team has today for sure.
You can tell this is the thought process all week long by the offense. We're going to go out there, we're going to out-tough the other team and just run the football right at them, and it has worked well.
Second and 12.
Game glitched right here. I probably would have been able to beat him to the outside, or at least, make a cut, and then all of a sudden he went from my left side to my right side, and that was the end of that.
And this running back, he can't make every run spectacular. Nowhere to go, so only gets a couple yards this time.
Third down and 7.
Tight end gets a touchdown. If you're having trouble being successful with the running back in Madden, you want to pick one of the teams that has a better quarterback. That's probably the easiest. I picked the Packers just because I'm a Packers fan, so it's kind of nice that they're pretty good anyways with Aaron Rodgers. But generally speaking, just pick any of the good quarterbacks. So in this case, you're looking at Tom Brady. I'm not sure about how Peyton Manning in this one. They probably nerfed him quite a lot because of his lack of success this season. But Aaron Rodgers, Tom Brady, maybe Drew Brees, Cam Newton would probably be decent, or Ben Roethlisberger would be a good one.
Yeah, when you run the football well, we all know you control the tempo of the game. And also
one thing to consider also is the goals, the drive goals. Once you start having some success consistently, you won't really have to worry about the drive goals. Like if they happen, you can kind of maybe call a couple plays towards those. But especially early in the drive, if you're not winning, don't even worry about the drive goal because you don't want to fail at getting points just so that you can try to get the drive goal.
He's going to be tackled right around the 21-yard
It's not really that big of a boost in the game.
That time on that run, but he's had a terrific day. When there's an opportunity to get some yards, he's been there to take advantage of it.
That last running play was good for only a yard, so it's 2nd down and 9.
At this part in the game, they start stopping me because I keep trying to go outside, which is what this defense is really good at. Actually, is the outside run because they run the 4-3, and they move their linebackers outside. Here's another pretty solid screen pass. I made a bad cut, which ended up in me getting tackled, but had I not made that bad cut, it would have been a lot better and probably a touchdown. But when you see this, like if you keep coming up to the line and they don't really have a nose tackle over the center, or if he's moved to one side or the other, start running runs up the middle. Don't pick the outside runs or the off tackle runs like I'm doing because it kind of just buries you, especially if your double team doesn't get there. This one it broke like 3 or 4 tackles, but ultimately they're gonna keep coming and they're gonna get to you before you're able to break it because you'll end up running out of stamina.
Good job by the defense. They stopped the first down play that time by the offense, and now they have a good situation.
They bring in the extra tight end.
The quarterback, he's changing the play with the wide receiver with those hand signals.
2nd down and 12. Wilson's there to catch a ball that had a lot of heat on it. That's his 3rd catch of the day. The Packers have
The video looks a little pixelated on this one. It's like a throwback to Mario 64, so just kind of disregard that.
That's where you have to give credit to the coaching staff. They have helped the players. The play designs have been good, and the players are taking advantage of it. Right call here by the coach in this situation. Keep running the football. Keep that clock moving. You have the lead. Just tell your quarterback to tell everybody on offense this. Hold on to the football and don't have a penalty where you could stop that clock.
2nd down and 8.
Just a few running plays until the end of the game, but one of the runs here at the end I'm going to show you because it'll show how important it is, the type of cut that you make, which I didn't really talk about a lot, but you don't want to always just cut as hard as you can to the open field, because if you do, you can overcut, which will be actually negative towards you because you'll end up just cutting into guys, when if you had made a very lighter cut or a much more lighter cut, then you would have been fine. And there's an example of me accelerating past my blockers by holding down the right trigger, but I just wanted to get out of bounds so I could get another play. So this should be the play that I wanted to show you, which is why it's important to pull inside here. It's gonna be a run to the left. I'm at blocking on the left, and a guy that pursues, and I cut inside, but I cut so far inside there. Had I just cut it just enough, I would have stayed outside. I would have scored a touchdown on that last play. But because I overdid the cut, I ended up not being able to do that.
It was a win that was a one-sided